Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please come in, make yourself at home. My name is Patty Cake. Welcome to Patty Cake Games and the next episode of Settling the Scores with my friend Dan. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Pat. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'm really excited that we get to hang out next month when Comic Palooza comes into town.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it.
Especially Alan Tudyk. Alan Tudyk's going to be there.
Yeah, I saw.
That's like maybe one of the first times that a celebrity is there that I might have to save up the money to get an autograph. Man, I love Alan Tudyk. Anyway, enough about that. We've got a show to do here. So before we get started, everybody, if you're watching the show and if you like what we're doing here, look down below the video. Consider clicking on like and subscribe. It really does help out this channel. There's lots of other stuff on the channel. So if this isn't to your liking, we've got Mid-Journey Mad Libs, which is a comedy show I do with my other best friend. And then I also have lots of gaming stuff on my channel. So check it all out. If you like it, subscribe it. And then you can also join the Discord. In the link in the description of the video, there's a link to a Discord. Please come and join the Discord. We have a great community of really cool people there. And then if you'd like to help out the channel in ways other than liking and subscribing, you can join the channel. There's 2 tiers of membership. Just click on the join button underneath. Gives you all the details. You get videos early. You get access to special members-only content. It's super cool. All right, that's my spiel selling the channel. Let's do our show now. So if you're new to the show, Dan and I are very old friends, and we are both big music nerds. We both did lots of band stuff when we were in school, and we're really into like symphonic orchestra stuff. And I have found over the years that I have grown very, very fond of video game soundtracks. And I'm also fond of film scores, but Dan is extremely fond of film scores. So we decided to put this show together where we bring something to the table from each of our worlds, and we settle the scores, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to have a music nerd friend that I can do this with, because I've always wanted to do music stuff on my channel, and now I have someone that I can do it with. And we also do a theme. Every episode we do a theme, and this episode's theme is going to be character themes. And I already know what Dan brought to the table. I'm really excited, but I'll let him talk about it.
Cool. So I think this was initially the leitmotif, I think is what we were kind of talking about. And I dig that because it's the leitmotif is going to be that piece of music that kind of carries through other compositions in the film. They could be like, as Pat just mentioned, the character themes. Those are the big ones. You might hear a piece of music that maybe started at the beginning of the film when the credits start to roll, and then you start to hear bits and pieces of it throughout the film. It's a great way for the filmmaker, along with the composer, to kind of add dramatic or emotional elements to the film. So they can be pretty important. They can be equally powerful. It just depends on the piece that you're watching and listening to when you're at the movies. So today, I selected one of my all-time favorites because it comes from one of my all-time favorite movies.
Mine too.
It's 19 right. It's a great movie. It's 1981. The Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of course, now they've rebranded it as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
But when you were 11 years old, like I was watching the movie, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I still refer to it as just Raiders of the Lost Ark. I refer to the entire film franchise as the Indiana Jones films, but
yeah,
each film it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade. I don't actually say Indiana Jones when I talk about the movie.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure why they feel like they have to put Indiana Jones, because I think the character is pretty darn iconic.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a marketing thing.
Maybe, and it might also be they're trying to like play into the idea. I mean, the whole film was kind of based on the old radio shorts,
Yeah.
And they were they usually had the character's name as something and the something, And I think maybe that's why they went that way. Possibly.
Yeah, that's probably. I would agree with you on that. Yeah, but I mean, the anyway, the one that I selected, because I have to kind of like edit myself because I'll just go off on a tangent, as you well know.
Uh-huh.
But I selected for this one Marion's theme, if you will. I think is how they officially worded it in the soundtrack. But this is for the character of Marion Ravenwood in the movie, who is one of my all-time favorite film characters, one of my all-time favorite movie heroines. I love Marion Ravenwood. I think she's just fantastic, and she's equal to Indiana Jones.
Absolutely. She was a challenge for him, and that's what makes her
she
interesting.
was exactly. You know, she didn't put up with any guff from him. You know, she stood her ground. So I thought it was fantastic. It's just a great character to begin with, anyway. But her particular theme, in considering that it's a action adventure movie, and I would argue with anybody that it's probably the best action adventure movie ever made.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have any argument with anybody else on this one.
I don't know if I'd say it's the best, but it's definitely one of the best. So I agree with you there. It gets very high marks in the action adventure genre.
Because that's it's always been a high watermark type film for me. It's quite important in my list of films, if you will, that I think are all important. Anyhow,
it's also one of the films that spoiled me to John Williams as a composer, because anytime I see an action adventure film that does not have John Williams as a composer, I'm always skeptical of whether I would enjoy the movie or not.
It becomes kind of like what's the a stamp of approval, if you will, you know, when it's going to be something good. So that's kind of what you come to expect when it comes with John Williams is doing the music for a movie. But yeah, going back to this one, the piece is very sweet. It's almost it's very romantic, for one. So I mean, a lot of the times people will think of it as the love theme from the film.
People kind of think of Leia's theme as the love theme from Star Wars as well, because it always plays when her and Han are together.
Exactly, and they do the same thing here also with Marion and Indiana Jones. So it's a great piece. I like that it carries on, because every time you see the character pop up throughout the series, you'll see her piece will come up as a recall, of course, to remind everybody this is Marion. But it's a great piece, and I love it so much, and I love the character so much that whenever I'm out drinking with the fellas, or if we're out bowling or something like that, and we decide we're going to take shots, I'm the one guy that always takes the shot glass and flips it on top and puts it back down onto the table. And then I can remember the first time I did that with my bowling buddies, they were kind of like, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, "That's for Marion Ravenwood,
right?"
Very much. And they were like, and you know, these guys are a little younger than I am, and they were kind of like, "Who?" I was like, "Oh no, let's have a conversation right now." And I start talking to them about Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, and Marion Ravenwood, and I thought it was hilarious because the other day we had gone out to a local bar here in town, and we ordered shots, and everybody took their shot, and I went and slammed mine down like I normally do, and one of my friends just at the same time he slammed his down too, and I was like, anyhow, but that's the piece that I'm bringing for you for today.
Awesome. Well, let's give it a listen. I mean, I've already heard it. I've heard it a million times, but I will never not listen to it. So let's listen and discuss.
Yes.
I'm sorry to pause so early. Guys, we're sorry we have to pause this so much, but this is John Williams, and it warrants discussion, but also I have to pause it at least every 30 seconds or I will not be able to monetize the video. That's just the way YouTube works. Anyway, So
Yep.
what I wanted to say right off the bat is, I don't even remember the actual musical term for this type of chord progression, but John Williams is famous for using that when representing either feminine characters or love themes. And it's that goes da 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 da, that note there that's like it's not part of that same chord. And I don't remember the actual musical term for it. I knew it at one point, but I've since atrophied my brain with other things. But he does that here, and he also does it in Leia's theme, because Leia's theme's like it changes to a completely different key in that last chord, and it does it in Marion's theme as well. Which
now, if you remember the term, go ahead and put that in the comments so that we'll remember.
Yes, absolutely. If I remember it, I'll look it up. If I remember what that is, I'll put it. And if you know in the comments, put it in the comments, and I'll put it in the description if I find it before I finish editing the video. I'll look and see if I can find out.
I like how it starts with the flute.
Yeah, it's very soft and gentle, and then when everything starts coming in, that climb, how it steps, the chords step up, and then it jumps to a different key that's higher in the register. That's such a beautiful moment. In fact, I might want to hear it again. Hang on.
I mean, I don't blame you.
I love that part.
Right? It's great. I love it. And there's this slow build into it. The strings.
No, we mentioned this in one of our earlier videos, and it might have actually been when you brought Thing from Superman, which was also John Williams. But I remember seeing he was either in the documentary about John Williams. I think it was in the documentary about John Williams. Did you watch that?
Which is a good one.
Good. Yes, good.
That's great.
Oh my God, it was so good. But I think it was in that documentary that in an interview with John Williams says he doesn't write music, he finds music. It's just, and I think we had this discussion that some people are just born with the gift of hearing the music in the universe, and they're able to channel that and write it and create what they hear in the universe. I'm unfortunately not gifted with that. I can recognize when I hear something that is created that way, though. And John Williams' music, you can tell, is created that way because as soon as I hear it, even if it's the first time hearing it, you feel like you've heard it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is that familiar quality to it. But and we've had this conversation before, you and I, about how John Williams he's able to, as we discussed right now, just he's able to tap into other things, other composers, and he finds those little bits and pieces that I think add to that level of familiarity that we have as the listener, because it seems to kind of like pull from things that we already know and have heard somewhere along the way. I don't mean it like he's sampling somebody else's work or anything like that. But
all music references, there's
other music.
All music references what influenced and inspired them. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That does not bother me in the slightest. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. There's something about John Williams music and John Williams film scores that it's, it has an unnameable quality to it that
Yeah.
just feels extraordinarily organic.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't take, if it feels, and I know this isn't true. I know that John Williams probably poured over this one piece of music for hours and hours and hours and hours until it was exactly the way he can envision it in his head.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was effortless. Like this just feels like it should be this way, and there's no other way this song should ever be, because this is how it's supposed to be, and this is just, it just flows out of nature like that. And that's kind of how John Williams music feels to me.
And I get that too, because I always kind of feel like especially when he's doing these character themes, it's almost as if he's kind of like painting a portrait, if you will, but with music. You know, you hear the piece and you have an idea of who this character is. There's a gentleness to this particular piece that I think is very indicative of the character Marion Ravenwood, even though she's
badass,
tough as nails.
Yeah, she's a badass.
But there is this internal monologue beauty kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, even underneath all of that bravado and that exterior, that tough as nails, you know, a fist fighting bartender, you know, underneath all of that, she's still a very beautiful woman. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right?
It's so hard to pause. I don't want to stop it. I have to. So another thing that I really love about, and it's just one of the things that's magical about leitmotifs, right? There's a scene in Indiana Jones when like something happens, and I think it's when Indiana Jones finds her tied up in the tent, and he takes her gag off, and he's going to release her, but then he's like, "Oh, I can't, because they're going to know I was here, so I have to tie you back up." So he does that, and like at that moment, whenever he pulls the mask down, all the music drops off, and it's just one flute playing. And it's like, it just like you said, it just reminds you, oh yeah, it's Marion. That's Marion's music.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for the scene as well, because it like dropped all that tension from the scene. There's just one little tiny tender moment, you know, when they found each other. Yeah. Although I still think my favorite Marion moment is when she's being carried through the streets in the big basket, and you just hear her yelling. She goes around the corner.
That was a great sequence. I love that.
Dan, where would our movies be without John Williams?
It is the soundtrack of my youth. It is the soundtrack of my life. I mean, seriously, I mean, all of his music is just kind of like interwoven throughout my life in some weird way or the other, and it's
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And
yeah.
it's just like I think back on all these movies that I love, and the ones that particularly stand out, the ones from my younger days that I used to watch with my family, or went to the movies to see with my family, like the Star Wars films and the Indiana Jones films, and the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is one of my favorites.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
But anyway, just all of that, that's John Williams, and I can pick out the music. Like if you played even some of the more obscure ones, if you played it, I could be like, I think that's John Williams, and I think that's from this film, and I would probably be right, just because it makes that much of an impression, which is pretty astounding.
He definitely has a style that works very well with film, and I think that's the reason why we all kind of feel that we might pick up on something like, hey, was that John Williams? Because he does have a distinctive style, I think,
Yeah, he does.
He's able to change it around. He does that all the time. But it's like, it's a John Williams score when you hear it. That's something.
Yep, that is very true. All right. Well, that was great, Dan. Thank you for bringing that.
Sure.
So my piece of music that I'm bringing is from my favorite game franchise, and it's actually from my favorite game in that particular franchise. And I could have chosen, like, I literally could have, if we're doing like character themes and leitmotifs, I could have picked at least 20 from this series, because every single one has these. But I went with something kind of unusual, and I went with that for a very specific reason.
Okay.
So the song that I'm bringing today is from Final Fantasy VII, but it's from the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, because this song was not in the original game.
Oh.
So, Dan, you and I are of a similar age bracket. You're a little older than me, but not by much. So we both, and I know this for a fact because we've spoken of it, we both grew up watching like 1970s children's shows that came from Asian countries.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
yes.
There's a certain DNA to the theme song of 70s children's shows from Asian countries. And it's hard to really describe exactly what it is, but this is what this theme song is to me.
Okay.
So anyway, let me to kind of explain what this song is and where it came from. And I have to kind of explain a little bit about the world of Final Fantasy VII. So the remake of Final Fantasy VII is like absolutely incredible, especially for people like me who were huge fans of the original Final Fantasy VII. And even though I know you probably never will, I will still harp on it forever. Dan, you've got to play Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. I really do think you would really freaking love these games. But anyway, the world of Final Fantasy VII is run completely by a corporatocracy. There is a giant mega company called Shinra, the Shinra Electric Power Company, and they control the media, they control the military, they control the production of energy that is used by everyone in the world. So they have unprecedented power for a company. And of course, that sort of power, of course, well, there's also the idea of where they're getting their energy from. So in the cosmology of Final Fantasy VII, the planet is a living entity, and the blood that runs through her veins is called the life stream. I mean, this figuratively. It's not actually like an organic life form. It's just the planet has a life energy all its own, and it's called the life stream. And the life stream is what allows life to be born onto the planet. And then when someone dies, their life stream energy returns to the planet and then is reborn somewhere else. So there's a finite amount of life stream energy. And Shinra is extracting that life stream energy and converting it into Mako, which is used to power things. So they are sucking the planet's life stream dry. And there's, of course, people who are fighting against that. And that's where you come into the story. So when you have this sort of unprecedented power and you don't want to lose that power, and you're doing something that is obviously killing the planet, and everyone knows it's killing the planet, but they're staying silent because it's giving them conveniences of electricity and warmth and clean water and all the things that we expect from a civilized society. They're not gonna rise up against that, but people do.
Yeah.
There are insurgent groups that try to fight it when they really get to the point where like we can't let this go on anymore. They're gonna kill the planet. So, what do you do in that situation if you are a mega power company? You need to make sure that you get them when they're young. So in the remake, they introduced the idea of Stamp. So this picture that I'm sharing with you, this is Stamp. Stamp is a lovable little hound dog who fights for the people on the side of Shinra. And they create a whole cartoon show about him, and all the kids watch this cartoon show about Stamp and how he fights for them, and he's on the side of Shinra, so you should be on the side of Shinra too. So it's propaganda. It's propaganda aimed at children to make sure that they grow up loving and dependent on Shinra.
I mean, isn't that not the best kind of propaganda?
Right? So I didn't think they would ever do something. I mean, adding stuff like this to the game is fine, but I didn't think they would go as far as to mention the fact that they have this character, and then you learn that they actually have movies and TV shows in this world with this character that's all propaganda pieces. There's a little mini game you can do when you're playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you find soundtrack. Like soundtrack CDs, and then you can go to jukeboxes and you can go through what you've collected and you can listen to the music, but it's not actually the music from the game. It's like reimagined versions of the music from the game. So they have like jazz versions of this person's theme song, or like this cool techno version of this song. Well, they actually have at one point in the game the theme to the Stamp television show. And that's what I'm bringing to the table today. And you will immediately recognize what it sounds and feels like, because it sounds and feels like a 1970s children's show from Japan or China, and it's just absolutely incredibly nostalgic. So once I start playing it, I'm going to scroll down so that you can see the lyrics, because the person singing it has such a thick accent you can barely understand what she's saying.
All right, I love it.
Here we go.
God.
Does right?
It does.
He's a good boy who never stops, keeping nice in his day for each and everyone. He's always kicking back about, and I can never stay into the next week. Go all out, little step. You got so much courage and everybody thinks you were so well. Even though you get distracted by a tree throwing away, even though you don't remember how to see or how to stay. Fight for us, little step. You just did. On four legs and you're the hero that we need. Even though you're always tempted by a tender meaty bone, even though you work at nothing when you think you're all alone. Go on, little step. Fight for us, little step. If only we could have such big hearts.
I mean, can you see it? Can you see this show?
Oh, yes.
I can totally see it in my head.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I can too. I mean, it's great. I mean, the production of it is I dig it. I love the groove of it and everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, they chose. I mean, it feels modern. It feels like it was like recorded within the past like 5 years. But it also
Yeah.
the way it's phrased and the instrumentation they used, it feels very dated at the same time.
Yes.
Which I love.
Very.
That's what made it feel really nostalgic. It's like, oh God, I've watched this show as a kid. I think I've seen the animation before.
I think I have too.
As big as death, as she rise. If only we could have such big hearts. As big as death, as she rise. He's a good boy who never stops, keeping eyes in his day for each and everyone. He's always kicking back about, knocking never stay into the next week. Go all out, go all out, little step. You got so much courage and everybody thinks you were so well. Even though you get distracted by a tree thrown in the rain, even though you don't remember how to see or how to stay. Fight for us, fight for us, little step. You just stand on four legs and you're the hero that we need. Even though you're always tempted by a tendency bond, even though you bark at nothing when you think you're all alone. Go on, little step. Fight for us, little step. Go on.
So one thing that I really like in this song, and I don't know if you noticed the switch there, but they waited one stanza and then they started singing so that they were off the normal chord progression that we heard the first time through the song. So
Yeah.
it gave that second time they did the chorus a completely different feeling because it was different chords in the background, but it still worked, which is really cool and interesting.
Yeah. As propaganda goes, though, this is pretty good because now I kind of want a T-shirt that says, "Fight for us," little stamp with the dog on the front.
We should I should make one. I can make one.
We
Yeah.
should do that, and then like wear it at Comic Palooza and see if anybody picks up on it.
Oh, someone will. Trust me, someone will. Oh my God, we should totally do that. I'm gonna see if I can do that.
Okay.
He's a good boy who never stops. He's always kicking back about. He's a good boy who never stops.
So that's the Stamp theme song from the Final Fantasy
This-
VII remake.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop there. They didn't
Oh.
stop there. Because in the next game in the series, and this is one of the things that made me realize just how lovingly crafted these remakes were. These were not cash grabs. These were absolute labors of love and respect for the source material. So there's a quest in the second game where you have to this woman, you can see her on the screen. Her name is Rhonda. That bitch Rhonda. There's a story behind that, guys. I'll talk about it on the Discord. If you want to hear about that bitch Rhonda, go to the Discord. I'll tell you the story. Anyway, Rhonda, she has her son who's living in this other settlement, and she needs to send him a care package. And she always does this by sending her dog, Salmon, who's this little greyhound.
Okay.
And so it's an escort quest. You have to follow this dog to its destination and protect it if it gets attacked, so that, you know, it makes it there safely. And I'm not a big fan of protection quests like that. I usually get frustrated with them because the NPCs do dumb things. But anyway, I didn't mind doing this one. I'm escorting a dog, and you know how much of a sucker I am for a cute dog, right? So you're escorting a dog, so that's not so bad. But then this started playing, and when I recognized what it was, I did not mind at all.
Oh.
So anyway, we don't have to listen to the whole thing because it's really long. But they carried the stamp theme over into the next game, even though they didn't have to. They didn't have to do this. They composed an entire new version of the stamp theme song, and it only appears in this one quest.
Wow. Talk about dedication to the craft.
But it doesn't stop there, because Final Fantasy VII the remake project uses dynamic soundtracks. So the music morphs into a battle version of the music whenever you get into combat, and then back into the regular music when you're out of combat. So as soon as you get into a battle, you get this.
I like this battle one.
So anyway, I just wanted to show you all three versions of this song as it appeared in the remake series so far. And I'm absolutely certain in the third and final installment of this remake project that's probably going to come out in like 2027, they're going to carry the stamp theme song into that as well, I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain.
We're going to have to come back and find...
Absolutely.
We'll do a
follow-up. We'll do a follow-up video, and we'll say, hey, remember when we talked about the stamp? Yeah, well, here's the new one.
Here it is.
But I literally,
you
I
kids.
could have gone with so many options for what song I wanted to bring, even just from this one game. Like there's a character. He's actually on my screen right now. This guy right here. That his character's name is Red 13. He is my favorite character in the entire Final Fantasy franchise, and his theme song is one of my favorites. And it ties into the town he's from, because the town he's from has an expanded version of his theme song, and it's just so freaking good. Anyway,
Nice.
I almost chose him. But when I thought about it, it's like, you know what? No, the whole inclusion of a theme song that sounds like it's from a 1970s children's show out of Asia, and that Jan and I used to watch shows like that when we were kids. This will be a fun little nostalgic way of doing the character theme with leitmotifs, how it carried over into the next game. Anyway, I just love this. I thought it was great.
I think it's great. I loved it. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I think I'll start doing with my cleric in D&D is make that my battle cries go all out.
Go all out, little stamp. You may get some looks from the guys around the table if they've played the game, because they'll know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, there might be one or two actually that might catch on. So that'd be fun. That would be fun.
Well, this was a great episode. I think we brought some really fun things to the table, both of us, and and it was just wonderful to listen to Marion's theme again. Now I might want to go watch Indiana Jones. I made Victor watch them one day. He had never seen them.
What?
Yeah, he's seen them now. I made it happen.
Good for you.
Also Back to the Future. I made him watch those too.
Good. We're gonna have to look and see what other movies he has not caught up on.
There's quite a few. I have a list. I have a stack of them over there that we've pulled out. It's like these are the ones you need to watch.
Sheltered life.
Yeah. Well, a large family, and everyone had to share a TV. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But there's no excuse now, Victor.
All right, well, we are going to get out of here. Thank you guys for coming by and watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Dan, for doing this with me. I have so much fun every time.
It's always a pleasure. I love to hang out with you.
All right, well, we'll see you guys later. Click like and subscribe before you leave. Bye.